Greetings car fanatics. I haven't posted a video in a while because I've been extremely busy, so I thought I'd make a quick update video on my 2008 Porsche Cayenne Turbo. A lot of people have been really amused with how much work I and the previous owner had to put into this car to get it up to this point. So I got all kinds of comments like this thing is a lemon and needs all kinds of work. Well, for Porsche Cayenne Turbo, all of the work that pretty much has been done on the car are known issues. So not quite a lemon, but it is a slightly higher maintenance car. I took my car in at 91,000 miles to get the drivetrain fluid all changed, and I had my mechanic do a inspection just to see how everything else was. And he reported back that the front upper and lower control arms were pretty much shot. He also found that the drive shaft bearing, the support for that was going bad. Now the drive shaft support bearing was replaced by the previous owner right at around 58,000 miles on the car, but I guess the design of the OEM part just isn't very robust. So all of this work was quoted for $2,800. Now fortunately, my aftermarket warranty explicitly calls out all of the parts that needed to be replaced. So my independent mechanic was able to work with the warranty company and we got it all replaced, all under warranty. So far the Carchex warranty has paid out well over $5,000 and I only bought the policy for $3,500, so I'm actually ahead on the policy. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the parts so I can show you why they failed and kind of signs you can look for if you think one of these components may be failing on your car. So my mechanic replaced a lot of parts. This is the lower control arm, upper control arm, the strut top mount, the sway bar end link. I had the sway bar bushings replaced as a preventative measure and paid out of pocket for this. He also replaced the drive shaft bearing support. So let's take a look at what was wrong with these parts. So for the lower control arm, you have this ball joint, you have a support bushing right here, you have another bushing right here, and then your fourth bushing is right here. Now, your control arm could go bad if any one of these components fails. So in this case, the lower ball joint actually was in good shape. You can tell if you grab it, it's nice and firm, not a lot of play. So if it was really bad, it would be flopping all over the place, but that's not the case. The boot right here is all nice and intact, so that was okay. Now looking at this support bushing over here, I'm going to stick this tool in here and try to flex it around. Now that's really stiff, so that's actually an okay shape. Looking at this bushing over here, there's actually no play in it, it's really strong. Now this is where we have the issue. So if I take a look at this particular support bushing right here, look at how much play I can get on that. So this is actually bad. All right, you see that? I'm able to deflect the bushing and you got a nice big crack right here. So this was bad, and now when I was driving the car, you could kind of feel it because at certain speeds the steering wheel would shake, and also going over bumps, the car just felt loose. And after trying to resolve that issue, thinking it might be a wheel balance issue, that didn't take care of it, but this is definitely bad. Now something like this is going to be really hard to diagnose just by looking at it, because when you have these parts mounted on the car, the bushings are pretty much all covered up. So you're going to need an experienced mechanic looking for some play to figure out that this is bad. Now looking at the lower control arm, the ball joint was actually in decent shape. It wasn't on its way out or anything, so I actually cut it open just to show you what's inside. But you have some grease and then you have the actual ball joint itself. But this was all intact. Now this right here is not like super loose or anything like that, but it was kind of on its way out. Now if we look at the bushings on the upper control arm, this is where you can see that they're pretty much gone. So I should not be able to get this much play. So there's a lot of play there, and this particular side also has a lot of play. All right, so I cut this open just to show you inside, and if you notice very slightly, you'll see some black, like ashy stuff on the inside. That's basically remnants of the bushing on the inside that have basically kind of worn away and turned into this little dust rather than keeping the bushing solid. So this was all bad. And then the end link itself, it was just a cheap thing to replace, but I actually think the end link wasn't terribly bad. There's a little bit of play, but not too bad for an end link. I think compared to a new window, it's probably softened up over the years, so just a good idea to replace that. Now looking at the sway bar bushings, these are actually in really good shape. No cracks on them, they're super hard. So I did replace these just as a preventative measure, but I really didn't need to do that. And then here's the strut top. I don't really know how to test if this is good or bad, but the mechanic said usually when you replace the lower control arms, you want to replace this as well. But you know, with a car this heavy at 5,200 pounds and 91,000 miles, you're going to have suspension components that wear out. And then finally, here's the drive shaft support. Now the mechanic replaced this with a aftermarket one. It's a completely different design that will prevent this issue from ever happening again. So fortunately, the mechanic was able to identify that this was failing before it actually failed, and we were able to salvage the drive shaft as well as the drive shaft bearing, but this was bad. Alright, car fanatics, so that was an overview of all the parts that had to be replaced. Now, based on my prior videos, I am already anticipating some of the negative comments I'm going to get on this video. So yes, I know the Cayenne requires a lot of maintenance. I think with any luxury high-performance car, it's going to require more maintenance than a regular car. I think some people will probably say that their Honda or their Toyota or Chevy has gone 200,000 miles and only needed oil changes. Well, I can tell you that manufacturers do not design their cars to necessarily last 200,000 to 300,000 miles without particular parts failing. If you are driving a Honda or a Toyota at 200,000 miles and all you have had to do were oil changes, I can guarantee you if you took your car to get inspected, you might find some fluid leaks, the suspension components are probably going to be really worn out, and your car probably doesn't drive nearly how it did brand new. Now with my particular car, I wanted to handle well and still deliver that driving satisfaction, because if you don't keep up with that, the car isn't going to drive really well. Well, thanks for watching, Car Fanatics. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Leave any questions or comments below.